Good evening, my fellow seekers of happiness, because that's what we all want, isn't it, to be happy. Tonight I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Briggs-Myers test, because this doesn't only provide good information about what kind of work we should do, but also how we should spend other aspects of our time. And tonight I'm going to talk about pastimes and hobbies. Sometimes, not always, especially when we're younger, we go along with what's available to us, obviously. Difficult to do things which are not available to us. And we go along with our friends because they're our friends. After college and as life progresses and friends and family become separated, we kind of naturally become concentrated on our own everyday lives. Sometimes it's difficult to find things to do. I've got a friend who was like that. He had a problem finding things to keep him occupied. He felt that he should be doing more with his time, but just did not know what to do. Now, if he had followed this route, then he might have come to maybe some sort of conclusion. As it was, geographically, he was rather limited in what was available to him. And that was a long time ago. Since then, we have the internet and apps such as meetup.com, where if you've got an interest or do you think you might like to pursue, you can type it in, and lo and behold, there's possibly a group near you, or you can start one. However, sometimes it's knowing what to do in the first place. As an example, I know somebody who decorates cakes and does so very, 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 very well. But most people wouldn't even think of that as a pastime or a hobby. So I'm going to read out some of the, in fact, I'll read them all out. This is according to the modified, the newly expanded Briggs-Myers test. Personality types, and then we'll consider whether or not one size fits all hobby-wise. Okay, so we've got the inspector. I'm not sure what the inspector does, but I would imagine that they'd be the kind of person who performs surveys and things and ticks things off. The crafter, the protector, the artist, the advocate, the mediator, the architect, the thinker, the persuader, the director, the performer, the caregiver, the champion, the giver, the debater, and the commander. So, there you go. And I would imagine, for example, that somebody who falls mainly into the debater, somebody who likes to argue the toss, they'd be probably very good in quiz teams, and the artist would be less so. The artist would want to create things, do painting, sculpture, jewelry, but that would not be appropriate for the thinker. The thinker would possibly want to indulge in crossword puzzles and Sudoku and maybe other types of quizzes, and possibly read detective fiction. And let's just apply this first of all to the kind of books that people would like. Okay, so we'll consider hobbies tomorrow. Give me some time to think about it, because I'm doing this on the fly. I just thought about this about 10 minutes ago. But the kind of books. Okay, so the crafter, what kind of fiction would the crafter like to read? I would imagine that they are going to be very impressed by the kind of fiction where either the hero obviously is a crafter or learns something along the way, or where creativity is a strong part of the plot. So that would be somebody who has to arrive at creative solutions to problems, perhaps magician types. Whereas let's see, who would like detective fiction? The inspector, very probably. The protector would probably be more impressed with superhero type fiction. Jack Reacher, I would imagine, would appeal to the protector. The artist is quite possibly going to be more impressed with biographical studies about people who are artistic. And the advocate. Now, advocacy, generally speaking, is somebody who tries to plead on behalf of somebody. So judges, but particularly lawyers. So they're going to like legal type fiction and jury room type fiction. And the thinker is going to, I would imagine, be more impressed with Franz Kafka type stuff, Jorge Luis Borges, the kind of South American school, and the semi-supernatural dream literature. The champion, again, the likes of Jack Reacher and superhero fiction. The commander is probably going to like war stories. So you get the idea. If you have some sort of insight into your personality, and obviously some of us do, but some of us have no idea, and some of us can be a mixture of all these things, but it would give us an idea of you probably already know the kind of fiction that you like. I'm using this as an example and a springboard for tomorrow, because I'm going to think of some hobbies that may or may not be useful to know about, or give you areas to explore, so that you can, because the way you spend your leisure time has a big factor in lowering your stress levels. It allows you to escape. It's a stress buster, gets away, and then that increases your chances of being happy. Okay, that's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with part 2 of this. Okay, until then, here's to your greater happiness.